Right, good afternoon and welcome to our Posturite webinar on voice-activated speech recognition software. I'm delighted to say that we have Jonathan Whitmore from Nuance with us, and he's the UK and Ireland channel manager. And today he is going to be talking to us about the voice-activated software, in particular Dragon, and how this works with most of the common applications. He'll also be able to explain why Dragon is beneficial for people with specific issues and also as a tool to aid productivity. Jonathan has a large amount of experience, having been involved with this for the last 15 years. So with that in mind, I will pass you over to Jonathan. Just please be assured that the webinar will be available on our website, so if you do have any technical difficulties, you will be able to re-watch it afterwards. So, Jonathan, over to you. Jonathan, you just need to make sure you need to unmute yourself and take over from me.
Okay.
There you go.
Thanks, Catherine. Yes, good afternoon, everybody. Jonathan Whitmore, I'm the UK and Ireland channel manager for Nuance. So today I'm just going to show you and talk about voice-activated and speech recognition software. It's been around for quite some time, probably about 20 years in total. Probably the thing to realize is that it has come an awful long way, it has improved, it is a lot easier to use, and it is more acceptable as an assistive technology tool as well as a productivity tool. I think it's probably fair to probably just give you a little bit of a background on the organization itself in terms of Nuance. It's the technology, speech recognition, it's about reinventing the relationship between the users, anybody in a work environment or even an education environment, between those people and technology. It's adapting technology to make it easy for us to use and interact with our computers. Some people would actually go as far as saying it is probably going to become the fourth dimension to the keyboard, the mouse, and obviously the screen, as in speech recognition, typing text on the screen. So really what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to give a bit of a demonstration in about 5 minutes time, but I think just to tell you a little bit more about the organization and a bit about speech recognition on the whole. For those of you who are not aware, speech recognition is all around us. Around about 25 million cars that are going off the production line each year are actually speech-enabled or voice-enabled. That basically means that we have the ability to drive the car and actually command basic instructions using speech recognition that's built into the car, and it uses it in the cloud. In our healthcare industry, doctors, consultants all use speech recognition or certainly dictation with speech recognition. On our PCs, on our phones, all around us, it will become the next part or the next input cycle of creating documents, making things a lot more productive. So I think as far as Nuance is concerned, we're behind quite a lot of all of these technologies. And as speech recognition becomes more and more accepted, we'll actually become a lot more trusting in it. I think many years ago when it first came out, it was essentially a fairly sort of skeptical view on how speech recognition worked. I think all those years ago, it was essentially, it took a long time to create the profile. Nowadays, it has come an awful long way. And it literally takes a minute or two to create a profile. It does require a profile. And I will just run through the software to show you how easy it is to use. So, without further ado, switch to desktop. Open Microsoft Word. Insert Dragon logo. New paragraph. Set font size 22. One of the things with speech recognition and with regards to Dragon technology is it is very, very closely interacted and interfaced with Microsoft Word and Microsoft Office products. Essentially, speech recognition should be simple to use, easy to start and easy to create, and obviously documentation as well as sending emails and so on. as far as assistive technology is concerned, it's very important to understand that for those individuals that might have some kind of physical disability, some kind of impairment, speech recognition is actually a major point of communication for those individuals to interact in the way that we take for granted with PCs, actually using the keyboard and creating documents ourselves. Speech recognition overcomes that. So what I'll do is I'll just go through some very basic dictation just to show you how accurate the technology is. Welcome to the wonderful world of Dragon Naturally Speaking, comma. More specifically, welcome to the world of speech recognition. Full stop, new paragraph. Introducing speech recognition as an assistive technology in the workplace is easy to do, full stop. Using speech recognition, users with upper limb disabilities, comma, repetitive strain injuries and dyslexia can comfortably use a PC to create and edit emails and documents, comma, search the web and work with essential applications. Click cancel. New paragraph. With speech recognition nowadays, you can dictate at speeds of up to 160 words per minute. Top of document. Move down 3 paragraphs. Now obviously what I'm doing there is I'm actually using some of the commands to navigate a way around that document. Purely and simply from a productivity point of view, I could essentially scroll down and actually just continue dictating just by clicking and dictating. But if I had a physical disability, if I had some kind of RSI injury or carpal tunnel, I could essentially overcome the use of the keyboard just by using my voice and using those commands. So I'll continue on. New paragraph. All caps on. Dictation on the move. All caps off. New paragraph. Dragon supports wireless headsets, comma, pocket PCs and PDAs, and of course the handheld digital mobile recorder, such as the Olympus, comma, Grundig and Philips range of devices. Correct Philip. Click cancel. Select Philip. Philips. End of document. Full stop, new paragraph. Move up 3 paragraphs. Move up 1 paragraph. Underline speech recognition. 1. End of document. Almost like having a personal assistant in your PC, comma, Dragon voice shortcuts enable fast access to the web and desktop searching, together with instant connectivity to your email and meeting scheduler. Full stop, new paragraph. So this is fairly straightforward, standard dictation. If I want to start using the software, creating commands, making life a lot easier for when I want to do things on a more regular basis where I would normally have a series of keystrokes or even a mouse movement, I can actually replace that with a simple voice command. One of the things that Dragon will allow you to do, it will actually allow you to create your own customized commands. You can actually fill in templates that you might have previously created just simply by using your voice. Here's an example of one. New document. Create stock option template. 35. 3,000. Incentive. 35. Finish. New document. So very simply what I did there is just to show you a sort of dummy template to fill in just by using my voice. Using other commands, you can navigate around all the different applications that you've got on your PC. So for example, if you wanted to create an email, it's as simple as this. I would actually say, switch to desktop, send email to Jonathan Whitmore. Today's demonstration, press tab. Hi Jonathan, common new paragraph. I hope you enjoyed today's demonstration, comma. Please feel free to drop me any questions that you need me to answer. Full stop, new paragraph. Kind regards, click send. It's as simple as that. Basically, at the end of the day, anything that you can do with a keyboard and a mouse movement, you can actually use your voice. I use the software on a daily basis. I must admit my colleagues aren't particularly happy with that because my emails have gone from about one sentence to several sentences. And that's more of a human thing. It becomes a lot more, it makes you a lot more verbose. So it's a great tool to be productive, to be more productive. It's a great tool to do things efficiently. Whether it's a law firm, document creation, whether from a doctor's perspective, or even purely and simply, as somebody needs to have access to the technology, this will allow them to do that. So other commands I can show you as well. Switch to Word. End of document. Insert 3x4 table. 692,584 yen. Cell 5. £5.42. Scratch that. It's interesting that it does that, because it does actually show that the software itself, if it makes a mistake, you can correct it, either simply by spelling it yourself or just undoing that particular command that you've spoken. £6.52. Cell 9. Very quick. End of document. Top of document. Select Dragon Naturally Speaking. Copy that. Select Dragon Naturally Speaking. Copy that. New document. Paste that. Naturally Speaking. Caps that. Center that. Select Dragon Naturally Speaking. Unselect that. Select Sentence. Make that bigger by 10 points. End of document. New paragraph. Left align that. One of the things that you can do is you can actually teach Dragon words that it doesn't have in its dictionary, such as colon, new paragraph, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, new paragraph, that Welsh station. Now, I can't spell that, let alone pronounce it, but I've actually taught Dragon to understand every time I say that's Welsh station, it puts in the name of that Welsh station, which we can't pronounce. Anyway, that's really just a sort of scratch on the surface in terms of how the software will work and interact with some of the more regular applications that we use on a daily basis. For all of those that are involved with, if you've got CRM systems, if you've got other applications that are Windows compatible, again, Dragon may operate very efficiently with those without knowing versions and so on, but it is very possible to customize the software either individually or across an entire organization. All the commands that I've shown here today, or I've used today, can be listed and learned very simply, and that's why it's called Naturally Speaking, because it is about natural words, natural commands. Whether I'm searching for something on the web, I would use search the web for. Similarly, like an email, sending an email to. So really, at the end of the day, the software, the technology has come an awful long way. It's become a lot more efficient, a lot easier to create and learn and create the profile. It probably takes about 2 paragraphs to set up the profile initially, and then there's an optional training which would last between 10 and 15 minutes. Again, we always do advise that everybody go through the training because it makes the profile that much more accurate. But at the end of the day, it is an application. It's not artificial intelligence. It will say, or it will type what you say, not what you mean. And I think basically at the end of the day, you can make it as productive as you like. As I said, I always use the software now, so I'm obviously very used to it. It doesn't take long to learn. That's basically all I wanted to show today. If anybody does have any questions, then obviously pass those through. One question that was asked earlier on was that in terms of dyslexia, dyspraxia, it's a great tool, it's a great learning tool for kids or anybody who has either dyslexia or dyspraxia, because it's so tightly integrated with Microsoft Word. You can actually see the word being spelt right, and hopefully you can then associate with how it sounds and how it fits together in a sentence. But there are lots of other uses for the software. Almost the sky is the limit. Well, Catherine, that's basically what I wanted to go through right now. I guess I'd probably want to sort of open the floor up to any further questions.
Thank you, Jonathan. Yes, and we have some quite interesting questions that I'm going to fire at you now, and so we'll sort of see where we go with those. One of the questions so far has been that staff using wireless or wired headsets, what did we think about the quality when using voice-activated software?
That's a good question. Essentially, the quality of the output is dependent on the quality of the audio in. So whether you're using wired headsets or wireless headsets, the microphone quality, a good, reasonable quality microphone, should be more than adequate. There's a choice of either using a wired headset. If you buy the box product, it does come with a headset in it. We have a wireless Bluetooth device, or a version of it, and we also have a portable device, as in a digital dictation device. At the end of the day, I would always advise individuals using the software to consider, if they're having a wired headset, you are actually obviously tethered to the machine. I personally use a wireless one, is to have a USB version of the headset. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. Well, if we've got further questions later, I can always pass them through to you. Same thing about a noise issue here. Will Dragon work in a noisy open plan office?
It will depend on, obviously, the headset, the quality of the headset. If you've got a headset that has a background or background surround noise cancelling headsets, or the microphone is noise cancelling, then there's a good chance that it will be fine. When I use the software at an exhibition, which is notoriously quite busy and fairly noisy, it actually gets the best results with Dragon when it's quite noisy, because it blocks out, or rather the microphone blocks out the surrounding sound. So essentially, when you create a profile, those two initial paragraphs that you read are actually just a very basic audio check. And if you change from one environment to the next, then it's certainly wise to take into account the different surround sound, as it were. So in a noisy environment, in an open plan office, if the software is going to be used in that kind of environment, so long as the microphone is tuned into that environment, you shouldn't really have any problems.
Right, okay. Now this is an interesting question, one I've been asked myself, so I'll be hoping that your answer is going to be the same as mine. When students are using dictaphones and they're trying to transcribe the recording, do people need a profile for all the lecturers, as students have many lecturers? So basically, can we record different voices, and will Dragon transcribe different voices, I think is the question, really.
Interesting question. Dragon is dependent on an audio profile, the user that's using the software. If a student, for the sake of argument, is recording lectures, or if anybody's in a meeting environment and you're recording that meeting, it's very difficult for Dragon to decipher the difference between different speakers or different voices. I wouldn't advise even contemplating recording a lecturer for the sake of argument and creating a profile. It's probably more efficient to actually listen to what the lecturer has said on the recording and then redictate that into whatever Word document or notes. If you're looking at a two-way conversation, recording that and trying to transcribe it, it will only accurately, or it'll have more accuracy, recording your profile, transcribing your profile. You can't have multiple speakers and actually expect them to be transcribed accurately just by using one profile. Theoretically, yes.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, thankfully, I mean, I think you've answered it the way I answered it too. So, so that's a relief from my point of view. Although, I mean, actually, quite interestingly, from my perspective, my daughter can actually use my profile on my Dragon, which I thought was fascinating. I think more to the detriment of her rather than anything else. But it's quite an interesting one, that one. There was another one about the mobile app. I've just got to find the question now, but using Dragon on as a mobile application.
Yes, the mobile app, which is on the smartphones, same name as its name, Dragon. You can use that as a recording device and then push the audio into Dragon. You can also use it as a microphone, as a wireless microphone, if it's connected through the wireless network to your computer. And I personally don't tend to use that very much, but you can do it, and a lot of people use it.
Right, thank you. I think probably the last one, obviously we will pass all the questions on to you, Jonathan, so you can hopefully get back to some of the people. But we've got one here about, in my business we have a large population of employees where English is not their first language. How does the system cope with accents?
That old question. Basically, if you follow the full training procedure with Dragon, as I said earlier on, 2 paragraphs and then the optional 15 minutes thereafter, if you do follow that training pattern, then it shouldn't really have too many difficulties with accents. On occasions where accents are particularly strong and certain words are can be quite difficult to understand, there are ways round to actually teach Dragon to make sure that that word is correct. Generally, accents aren't a problem.
Brilliant. Well, thank you, Jonathan. I think we'll wrap that up. As I said, we will be forwarding all the questions on to you, so hopefully you'll be able to follow up on some of the ones I haven't managed to ask you, although hopefully one of the ones we did or have managed to ask today covered many of the ones we've come through. So I'd just like to thank you once again and just remind people that the webinar will be available to re-listen at our website, which is www.posturite.co.uk/webinars, and they will remain on there for at least a year. So you will be able to view them back, and also to invite everybody to our next webinar, which will be on the 21st of March, which will be on investigative techniques. And that'll be by John Ridd, and he'll be talking about some of the techniques that ergonomists will use to look into evaluating various ergonomic problems in the workplace. So I hope you'll all be able to join us then, and just really say thank you.